a lot to talk about here. Let's bring in our panel. Geraldo Rivera is a NewsNation correspondent at large, and we've also got Steve Krakauer, a NewsNation media contributor. Good to see you both. Geraldo, let's start with you. We'll get to Roseanne in a second, but you know we're going to see Kimmel in a couple of hours now when he returns tonight. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think he's going to apologize?
I certainly hope so. That's what I have been advocating, Brian. Nice to be with you and Steve. I think that what he did was ill-timed, but it was factually incorrect. It was inflaming a very tender situation in the country. He did something that I'm sure he regrets. I hope he regrets, and I hope that he says he is sorry, because to hurt so many people, it was clear by the funeral memorial Sunday night that Charlie Kirk was a very important person to many millions of Americans. It was clear that his message not only resonated, but they were deeply affected by his life and certainly by his murder. And it's time, you know, I guess, to move on from that. But he did it. He should say he is sorry. If he apologizes, he can start clean. Whether or not the stations decide to put him on the air or not, that's a business decision that they will make. But at least he can clean his own mess up. He can start with a blank slate, the new life, because what he did was terrible. Censorship sucks. I hate censorship, and yet so does inciting hatred suck. Brian.
Steve, I mean, obviously people who don't like Kimmel are not going to like him. That's not going to change. But is there some way that he could apologize that you think everyone would just move on from this?
I don't think everyone's going to move on. I think that, if anything, what last week showed us was, without getting too in the weeds, I think it was a window into the soul of the person who hosts a late-night show on ABC. And because just think about this. I don't expect an apology. I think maybe he's going to say he's sorry if he offended some people, you know, the normal mealy-mouthed stuff. But I think he's going to get stuck in the weeds on, well, you know, I wasn't actually saying that it really was a MAGA person who killed Charlie. That's not what's important. What's important is Jimmy Kimmel and his staff decided over the weekend that after Charlie Kirk got assassinated, that he's going to, what's our good material for a monologue to be funny about this incident? Let's do 5-10 minutes on this thing. Let's find a way to attack Trump as, oh, he gave an apology like or he was sad like a 4-year-old who lost a fish or something. I mean, this is the kind of gross material that he did that night. I think that's the window that we saw that night. And I think what's so interesting, I love Roseanne, and I have to say, I think the contrast there is so great. Roseanne had a show in 2018, and she was an LGBT icon back for her old show, which was a very nuanced portrayal of this great family dynamic and open. And then she put on the Trump hat. The new Roseanne in 2018 was a Trump supporter, and I have to tell you, that's what did it. That's what was her time. It was a ticking time bomb. They were going to get rid of her no matter what, because you can't have that.
That's not true. That's not true, Steve. Come on. She compared a black woman to an ape. You know, it's not that she had a Trump hat on. It's because what she said was like, you vomit. It's a horrible, horrible thing to say. It resonated because it was so bad, and she gets it too, because she is a brilliant comedian, and she was so successful for a reason, because she was really funny, really original. But you can't just say anything, particularly in a country where race is
did apologize,
still
Geraldo.
front and center.
But she apologized, and if you look at her history, I mean, she doesn't have a history of being a racist, like Steve said. I mean, she's been, you know,
there's no
it's been just the opposite. She's been a feminist too.
No, listen. She apologized for a tweet that she says she did incorrectly, but that was not yes, she got completely taken off the air.
She should have communicated directly to Valerie.
Barrett, yeah.
All right.
Well, listen, back to Kimmel, Geraldo.
I think it's awful what happened to her, but you can't just say anything. You can't yell fire.
Well, she's obviously suffered the consequence. I mean, she sort of has been erased from history.
She obviously has suffered the consequences, and I feel sorry for her. Right.
Yeah. What do you think, Geraldo, about what Roseanne said, that this was all a plan with Disney and Kimmel to sort of make it seem like he was canceled, but then bring him back? She thinks that was all part of the plan all along. Do you agree, Geraldo?
That's tough. I don't know what went on in their corporate boardrooms. I know that they are primarily self-interested, these executives, over my 55 years in the business. They respond as they think, I believe, that the marketplace wants them to respond often. I don't know. I don't have a sincerity meter. I can't judge how pure their intentions were. In terms of what they did from the point of view of their stockholders, they are public companies after all. I think they, but moving against Kimmel, scolding him would have certainly been appropriate in the strongest terms. Whether or not they discontinue his show seems to me at least half of it is a commercial decision. What ABC did with Roseanne was the opposite of a commercial decision, because they knew they were taking off the #1 show in their lineup. With Kimmel, as I understand it, I haven't checked the numbers, today, but he has faded. The shine is off his apple. He obviously has been around for a long time, since 2003 or something. He's told a lot of jokes, some bad, some good, a lot in between. This, though, was, I think, just thinking off the top of my head here, this is what happens when people get out of their lane. Jimmy Kimmel was trying to be politically smart and sharp and sarcastic, and he flubbed it because he did not correctly gauge the hurt of millions of Americans in a way that he didn't get it. He didn't get what America was at. He told a joke for the Sunset Boulevard crowd, and America wasn't in West Hollywood. America was someplace where Charlie Kirk's widow was grieving at that moment. So I don't know. I'd like to get us all past
that's a good point.
This whole thing and move on. Okay.
Brian, can I say
well,
one
just
thing?
real quick, Steve, I just want to ask, real quick, Steve, I'm very interested in how you think things are going to play out with Nexstar and Sinclair. Nexstar owns this network, NewsNation, but we obviously don't know what the bosses are deciding behind the scenes. I mean, right now, 50% of the country can't see Jimmy Kimmel. So what do you think they're going to do?
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to watch. One point of clarity, I would say Roseanne got kicked off her show, but the show continued. They just killed off her character, which is crazy. I will say I, first of all, agree 100% with my friend Geraldo here. I think censorship sucks also, and I think I believe in the marketplace of ideas and that the free market should win out. So I actually think it's fascinating and really smart and interesting that in this moment, Nexstar is making a choice. They are saying, okay, ABC, you can do what you want to do, and we're going to do what we want to do, and we're going to actually, in my opinion, I have no idea any inside information either, but I bet they kind of say, all right, let's see what kind of phone calls we get. Let's see how many people support it and how many people don't. Our own viewers are going to tell us what the next decision should be. And I think that's great. That is exactly how this should play out. So let's see what Jimmy Kimmel does tonight. I guarantee you the Nexstar and the Sinclair executives are going to be watching, and they're going to be listening. They're going to be listening to you, the people out there, to say, do you want to see more Jimmy Kimmel? Is that something you want, or do you feel like he can't come back from this? Maybe it's going to be a week. Maybe it's 2 weeks. Maybe it's tomorrow. We don't know. Yeah. But I think that more than ever, the power is in the hands of the consumer, and that's really a good thing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight. Geraldo, Steve, appreciate you both for coming on. Thank you.
Good to be here. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.